last week on the Nicoletti Show. Welcome to the show, Josh Nelson, Jordan Michael. Welcome, guys. What's happening?
Most people don't know the rules to the tax game. It's almost like if you don't know the rules to a game, you're going to lose every single time. Your tax guy needs to know all the codes to know that you're taking advantage of every deduction.
We're not just a one-stop shop. We're not just a trust company. We really want to partner with our clients and be a part of their success long-term.
If you have a living trust, that's designed to protect the government. It helps with probate and things like that, but it doesn't protect you from taxes. You can still get sued and you can still lose assets.
You don't want to pay capital gains. That is the only reason why the 1031 exchange even exists, is to defer the capital gains.
The trust, being non-grantor, separates the title of ownership and liability. And by the way, these trusts have never been broken into in almost 500 years. Not once, not one turnover order, not one successful lawsuit, because a spendthrift trust cannot be sued.
It's a wrap. Thank you so much for being on.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
thanks for having us, Al. Awesome, man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nicoletti Show. It's Wednesday night, a little past 9. You all have no idea what it's like running a show. You never know what's going to happen behind the scenes. And every week, we're always making tweaks and bringing the best show to the listeners and the viewers out there and the amazing fans of the Nicoletti Show. So we're so happy to be live with you. You're in for a treat today. I can't wait for you all to meet Jason Matthews. This is a great story. I'll dive in on it when we get going, but make sure you get your pens, your papers, get it out, take notes, because there's so much that Jason's going to cover today that is a really different perspective on short-term rentals and Airbnb. So you're all in for a treat. I'm so happy to be here with you all today on Wednesday. So let's rock this thing. Let's get going. I don't know where I'm finding this energy from, flying from Dallas and back in one day. It's crazy. So let's rock. Hey, everybody. My name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in their community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate, and bringing on professionals that are rising to the top of their game, even outside the Florida market, that can really help everybody elevate their business to the next level and take your business to the next level. Got a very, very special guest on my show today, Jason Matthews. Crazy how I was able to meet Jason, and shout out to Nate Hare and the whole New View Trust team. We were at the New View conference back in January, starting up the year when all the conferences were really ramping up again. And there were 2 days of speakers. First day, we had all the creative title and weird things in the foreclosure world and all that stuff when it came to self-directed IRA investing. And then the second day, which was more of the loan stuff and all the other things that were happening in the commercial loans. And I remember Jason was there. I think it was day one, but Jason was talking about Airbnb and short-term rentals. And when he was up there talking about it, I'm thinking, great, we're going to learn more about short-term rentals and what it's like in the Airbnb market. But Jason really touched on some key things that I feel like a lot of investors either don't know or missed on. And I certainly don't know. I don't have an Airbnb or short-term rental, but I thought it brought a lot of value, and I think it can bring great value to you all out there when you start buying more of these short-term Airbnbs and short-term rentals. So we're going to cover some really interesting topics today and keep it really niche. But Jason's going to really cover geographic location when it comes to the short-term rental market, where to position yourself, where's going to be the best spot. Also, staging and setup when it comes to the short-term rental. How do you get into that? What are you looking for? And are you overpaying when it comes to staging? Stay tuned for that one. Also, property management, that's huge, right? A lot of us want to buy more properties. But ultimately, somebody's got to help manage that. So Jason's going to talk about that. He's got the years of experience when it comes to this. As you can tell, I'm so excited to have Jason on. It's been awesome getting to connect with him back at the New View conference. And of course, we're going to cover financial structure. What are you doing in your business when it comes to this stuff? And how do you position yourself financially? So without further ado, let's welcome to the show, Jason Matthews. Jason, what's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? How you doing tonight?
Wow. I got the energy flying back from Dallas back here. So I'm ready to rock and do this thing with you. And I'm so excited you're on the show.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. Definitely enjoyed meeting you at the conference. Conference was great, and thank you for having me on your show. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to share this good information, and we'll actually get to your favorite part, the property management, a little bit later. We know how much you enjoy that.
Yeah, and I think some of those things that you were talking about at the conference, I'm thinking, boy, that's going to be so useful for the listeners out there. It's going to be amazing. So, Jason, let's dive in. I as I always do with the guests, I like bringing some perspective of how you even got here. How we know you're in that Tampa market, but you're going all over. Tell everybody how you got started in real estate, and then how did you transition into the short-term rental markets and the Airbnb markets?
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of stumbled into the industry. I was actually a financial planner, and my wealthiest clients were going out and doing real estate deals, and they would come to me to put money in their kids and grandkids' college fund. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm making a small commission and they're making chunks of cash. I'm like, I'm in the wrong business. I need to find out like what's going on. And so at the same time, one of my closest friends that went to Pitt the same time I did, he was in a law firm downtown. And what happened is one of the partners at the law firm had showed him a real estate deal where him and his buddies walked away with 1 million each. So my good friend started like looking at real estate and he ended up buying like 16 units. And I was like, okay, I need to really focus in on this. So I started reading, started talking to anybody I could about real estate, and ended up buying my first two properties. The down payment came from cash advancing, a credit line, and credit card. And that's how I got into the game 27 years ago.
Love it. And you have to probably have a great perspective on this, which is I didn't know if you were doing long-term holds or what you were doing like before the pandemic, but and you probably maybe had the short-term rentals before the pandemic, but what were you thinking like right when that pandemic hit, everything was going on with evictions and all that, and you had your asset class of short-term rentals and thinking, wow, I'm really happy to be in this class because what's going on with the long-term holds is just crazy.
Yeah, that was brutal. The long-term situation was really brutal. My thought process was, okay, we're going to have a different type of guest. That's what I understood. And I also have a long time procurement background. So I asked my wife to start buying everything she could: sheets, towels, linens, toasters, lamps, because I knew the supply chains were going to be broken. And we actually went to a storage, we got a big storage locker. And I didn't know at the time that the storage company actually would allow us to use their address as delivery. So this is a good little golden nugget that we learned. So we were allowed to ship from Amazon directly to the storage unit, and the office would actually put everything in our storage unit. So my wife was on Amazon Business Prime, another golden nugget, not regular Prime, but Amazon as a business Prime. So she started ordering a bunch of stuff, and we ordered literally for like 10 houses. And we knew our guests would be different. And we had contractors booking, and they would rotate the carpenters and the HVAC technicians and the electricians every 2 weeks, and the plumbers. They were rotating the trades. And then we also had corporations that were booking our properties like they were offices. So, their employees could leave their home where they live and go 10 minutes away and be in a house by themselves to work and be able to focus. So our guests literally changed, the type of guests that we were used to having.
Wow, isn't that amazing that you had to be flexible in your business and
Yeah.
also realize where a market shift was happening. And if you look back 5, 10 years ago, you're thinking, oh well, we probably won't be in that position. But then you got to be flexible in your business and do that. So the one of the most interesting things you talked about at the New View conference, which I thought was great, was talking about positioning yourself. If you're an investor, new season, and you're just getting into this game, or you're interested in getting into this game, the one thing that you really want to figure out is where to invest, right? There's so many asset classes, land, multifamily, single family, so many, and anybody can just dive in and buy this property, buy this. But when it comes to short-term rentals, you got to be specific, and it comes down to geographic location. What's the master class when it comes to really honing in on where to go, where to start, where to invest?
Sure, that's a great question. You have to really focus on location, and what I call it is being near unlimited amenities, because you have to be able to book Monday through Thursday. You can't just live off of booking weekends. So you want to be near an airport. You want to be near a downtown. You want to be near a busy commercial district. You absolutely want to be near hospitals. You have to be around certain areas where you have an opportunity to host a guest 365 days out of the year. A lot of people I speak to, they find a great property, but it's in a suburb, or it's in an area that doesn't have that unlimited amenity, like a beach community. A beach community has unlimited amenity. You being near universities, they have conferences all the time. They have all different type of activities going on college campuses. So that's why you see a lot of hotels around college campuses. That's why you see a lot of hotels around airports. There's a reason for that. So when it comes to location, you really have to do your homework and study and make sure you're near those unlimited amenities so you can get bookings from Monday to Thursday. That's extremely important. And to me, that's the number one factor when it comes into actually selecting a location. And 1B is understanding the municipal laws regarding short-term rentals in those communities. I have talked to investors that have actually went and purchased a property, and they did not look at the current laws on the books regarding short-term rentals, and they weren't able to operate the property the way that they really wanted. So to me, that's the 1A and 1B. Is the location near unlimited amenities, and what is the municipality allowing you to do?
So let's go through that and break that down real quick. So unlimited amenities. Let's go through that slowly. What are they again?
So in unlimited amenities, you're talking about like beach communities. You're talking about near airports, near downtowns, near universities, anything that has that 24/7, 365 activity. So if you take a neighborhood like West Tampa, which I'm sure you're familiar with, well, what happens with West Tampa is we have the airport. We're between the airport and downtown. We have the Del Mabry Commercial District. We have Raymond James Football Stadium, which also has Monster Truck, which also has concerts, which also has all different type of music festivals. There's a lot of activity going on. But I would say most importantly, you're talking about 5, hospitals. So West Tampa is a phenomenal location when it comes to short-term rentals because you have all those factors.
Very interesting. Yeah, I wrote that down, and I know beach towns are really popular too, because what happens on the holiday weekends, a lot of people and families, they rent out the house. But then what's a theme that we see after the holidays over is anybody there? Are they going for long durations? But those are like the busy seasons for the beach areas. But I love how you're thinking outside the box. It's not just about the vacations and the holidays. It's the stability, right? The hospitals, maybe the corporations, or, Wells Fargo, or people that are coming in for conferences or for concerts, right? Like you said, stadium. That's huge. This is a stadium's multi-purpose for concerts and football games, baseball. It could be car races, whatever it is, but
monster truck,
right? So
yeah, you get a lot of different varieties in the beach communities. People, you have the snowbirds that come down as well. So you think of beach communities only in the summertime or in the spring. That's not true. The beach communities of Florida are all year round, and we even have the Canadians that come down to get out the cold weather, not just the Northeasterners and Midwestern residents. We also get Canadians that come down that want to get out the cold weather as well. So the beaches are still very active in the quote unquote winter time.
Amazing. Yeah. And all those things 24/7, 365, wherever you can go. It doesn't have to be a metro city. I mean, let's just say, I, can you invest in either smaller towns for short-term rentals? Like, or does it make sense that you're in Orlando, you're in Tampa, you're in Naples, Miami, Broward, or can you also do something with short-term rentals in smaller markets?
Yeah, there are several operators, short-term rental operators that are very successful in those other markets. But I guarantee you, when you take a look at where they're located, they're near unlimited amenity. I guarantee you. It may be something in the mountains. It may be something in the heartland of America that has a major draw to it. But I guarantee you, there's some sort of unlimited amenity that is very near, and there's probably a lack of hotels. That's the other thing. Tampa doesn't have enough hotel rooms. So when we have a big conference or we have a Super Bowl or we have some big event going on in Tampa, the short-term rentals really help out, Tampa not having enough hotel rooms, even though we're trying to build them as quick as we can, is still not enough because we have so much activity.
It's crazy to think that hotels are running out of space, and now it just makes more demand for the Airbnb. So that's amazing too, right?
It
Um,
does.
maybe
It really,
that's a statistic. Find a city with the least amount of hotels that's a metro that has all this stuff, and that's a great market as well.
yeah. And
Yeah,
that's why I think that's why AirDNA rates various markets, and Tampa's consistently been like number one or number two regarding being one of the top markets. It's because we have so much activity, but we don't have enough hotel rooms. Where Orlando, you have a lot of hotel rooms, so it's much more competitive. But when it comes to Tampa, we just don't have enough.
yeah, that's crazy to me. I mean, and now that makes it a great opportunity, right? When it comes to that, it makes it a great opportunity. You touched on something that was a great point about knowing your municipal laws. So
Mhm.
I had attorney Guju on season 2, and he talked about Airbnb and all that crazy stuff that was wild. But as an investor perspective, your first inclination, you're a seasoned investor. You're saying you have to know the municipal laws, because if you don't, you can get into a trap thinking you can do this and this and this.
Mhm.
One, how do investors or professionals that are getting into this learn more about the municipal laws, what they can and cannot do, and what are some of the tricks and traps that you've seen others go through that makes you talk about this?
Well, before you make a purchase, you really have to understand, what the laws allow you to do with the property. That's extremely important. And that's how money is, in my opinion, that's how money is made in real estate, is understanding the various uses that you can have with a property. So whether it's a zoning variance, or whether you want to operate as a short-term rental, you have to know, actually what you can do. And unfortunately, sometimes investors will buy a property and then do the research, after the fact. So I always tell everybody, you can go to municode.com. Any municipality in the United States will tell you the housing laws. You can also talk to any very experienced property manager. The property manager's part of their responsibility is to know what the local compliance is. And fortunately, in the state of Florida, because we're so heavily we rely so heavily on tourism for income. The laws are very, very favorable. But if you go to another state, they may not be as favorable. So being in this region is great, because they do want, visitors coming in and enjoying our region, and spending dollars with the local vendors and things of that nature. So it's a very friendly environment. There still are some municipalities in Florida that try to keep you out, but it doesn't make sense. People just go right to the next neighborhood that does allow it, and then they get the new sewer lines put in from the hotel occupancy tax money, and then the next neighborhood over is on the local news complaining about sewer backups.
Mm.
So it makes no sense to me of why some of these municipalities try to keep you out. and then all that hotel tax money is going to the next neighborhood right across the street. Just it doesn't, lobbying hotel lobbying plays a big part in this business. So if the hotels are trying to keep you out of a particular area, obviously they've been lobbying the politicians forever, and the politicians have those long-term relationships. But again, people just go right over to the next neighborhood and operate Airbnbs there where it's more friendly in that particular neighborhood, receive the hotel occupancy tax money to improve their neighborhood.
Yeah, and I even remember there was an area in the Jacksonville area where at one point there was two beach sides to this, and at one point they were allowing Airbnb, and then they said no more Airbnb, and then another part of the beach area they're like, nope, we're going to continue doing Airbnb. Right. So learning the use of where you're buying or what you're buying is going to be important. So like Jason's saying, look these things up. Also, property managers know, and it just helps to get self-educated on this stuff. I think that's great. And I want to do a shout out. Who's watching tonight? Like, drop a comment, drop a like, a love, a bomb, a fire. We love knowing who's watching in the audience tonight. I saw Beth Burnett's watching. I miss you, Beth. We have to catch up at some point. I love the fans out there. I love knowing who's watching. And if you have any questions for Jason live, we got him live. Ask away. We'll make sure we ask it on the show. Anything when it comes to the short-term Airbnb, the rental market, when it comes to that Airbnb stuff. So we're going to keep going into this, Jason, because this is going to be huge. Staging and setup of the property.
Very, very important.
Yeah. I loved when we were talking backstage about this because, to me, I'm like, oh, they're stagers. Hey, you got to stage this property. You got to bring all this stuff in. And, it costs a pretty penny to do all this stuff. And I remember you're like, well, wait. There's a way to do this the right way. So tell everybody, what's that process, an overview, and then you can dive deeper, but an overview of what that process is when it comes to staging in a short-term rental.
Yeah. It's extremely important because you can really put yourself behind the 8 ball. Thankfully, my wife and the design team, they've set up over probably 65 or 70 short-term rentals. So they're pros at this point. But there's a lot of companies out here trying to tell, investors that you need, $30,000 to set up a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. And that's not true. They're just trying to, in my opinion, money grab and hit you over the head for $30,000. That's pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. So the key thing is durability. And I love our furniture suppliers that we work with because they will not allow us to buy anything for any of our properties that are not durable. So we don't have any glass tables. We don't do things that are breakable. There's not a lot of glass in the house other than in the kitchen. So you have to find things that are very durable. There are a lot of items that look very nice, that look nice in the photos and look nice in the house. But if they're not durable, you're going to be replacing them pretty quickly. And that can become very, very expensive. So you really want to do your homework and do your research and find a good furniture supplier that you can work with to bring your cost in line and not be fooled by a design company trying to tell you it costs $30,000. If you're setting up a mansion, that's one thing. I'm simply talking about, a 2,000 square foot house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, that's way outside the lines in regards to, and that includes, paintings on the wall, all the kitchen items, all the rugs, all that good stuff. It's nowhere near $30,000. And we've had a couple companies try to convince us to pay that. And given my long-term procurement background, I said, absolutely not. We know better.
So let's dive a little bit deeper on that. Durability.
Yes.
Okay. So you brought up a great example, which is non-breakable glass or whatever table that is. What are some other items that investors or stagers are missing out on when it comes to the expensive cost to it, right? What are some of those other things that you could do this instead of this. What is that?
Yeah, I would say your couches, you want to be able to get at least 3 years out of your couches, maybe 4 if you're lucky, if you take care of them. We try to stay away from cloth couches, and we like more durable couches, so faux leather that looks really nice and durable. We like wood tables, darker wood tables, because those are pretty durable. We like wood chairs because those can be, pretty durable when it comes to dining room tables. When it comes to beds, we try to stay away from cloth type headboards. Some of my friends just use pillows instead of a headboard. They'll get real nice pillows, decorative pillows that they'll use instead of headboards, because those are much easier to replace than having to replace headboards. White linens, you can bleach them, you can wash them easily, get them real clean. So, we use white linens. So those are some of the tricks of the trade when it comes to setting up and staging, your property. No glass coffee tables, no glass dining room tables. You just want durability that looks really nice. And keep in mind, most guests stay for 3 to 7 days. Sometimes people get mixed up in thinking someone's actually going to live in the house. They're not living, they're coming to visit for a short period of time, probably 3 to 7 days, and they're looking for a nice, clean, comfortable place to stay, a nice, comfortable, warm home. And that's what we try to provide.
Yeah, give them that whole service, that package, right? That's the idea. And some of the things you're breaking down there is critical. I mean, imagine how much somebody could save knowing those little things when it comes to the glass and the wood and things that still aesthetically look good,
Well, they
but
look great. Yeah,
save
they
you
look
on
great.
costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I would stay in any of our properties today with our family. I mean, that's a standard that my wife and I have always had, even back when we flipped properties for years. We bought and renovated over 150 properties over the years. But our standard was always, would we live in this house, with our kids? And the answer was always yes. And that's how we approach our short-term rentals. Will we stay in this house with our kids? And the answer is always yes.
over 150, and you really, I mean, that's experience, right?
Yeah.
Right there. Not I've bought 10, I bought 5, and this is where I'm at. I've done over 150,
Yeah.
and really narrowing that down, right? And you've learned all about things that are expensive and the cost and the overhead costs and where to save with shipping and doing all this stuff. So you've seen a lot of that stuff, which is fascinating too. So when you're getting into this, and we're heading somewhere with all of this stuff with the short-term rentals, when you have the staging, right? What's the next most important thing? You really want to promote your Airbnb or get it out there so people can see it, right? It's one thing to put it all together, but visibility and marketing. What are some of the best tips and tricks that you can give to people out there when it comes to really getting great marketing for your Airbnb, getting great reviews, some strategies for getting great reviews, and overall keeping the consistency for that Airbnb for people to see that it's what you want. You want it to be a home atmosphere, a warm home for people to come into.
Yeah, you definitely want it to be warm and comfortable. You really want to treat it like a hospitality company. Don't treat it as a money grab, but truly understand what it means to be a hospitality company. And it doesn't matter if you have one property or if you have 100 properties. You want your guests to feel comfortable. You want them to feel safe. So from a marketing perspective, yes, it is great to put your property on a platform, but the example that I give is the major hotel chains. They have a website, but they have to market their website to get you to come to their website to book an actual property, book a room to stay at their property. So you can't just rely on Airbnb or VRBO or HomeAway to do all the work for you. You want to do some digital marketing yourself. So we've recently implemented a new digital marketing program with one of our partners, our property managers and our marketing partners, called Mogul Moves out of West Palm Beach. And we revamped our website. We're doing more digital marketing, and we're giving our guests a better experience when they come and land on our website. And so when they show up to the home, they have a certain level of expectation, and we take that very seriously. It's not always perfect because it's real estate. Real estate isn't always perfect. What's important is how you respond. If a guest has an issue, how do you respond? You're going to have plumbing backups, just like hotels do. You are going to have your landscaper's crew didn't get there before check-in to cut the grass. You are going to have, your tree trimmer be delayed because of a thunderstorm or rain, and they couldn't get to your property in time on the usual schedule. All those things happen, but it just is how you respond to it. And you really want to be hospitable. You really want to be a hospitality company, because things are not going to always go perfect, but you want to make sure you respond to make your guests feel comfortable. We've all been that guest in a hotel, and our hotel room wasn't what it should be. Some issues with the, room, things of that nature. It's all how management responds. And when management responds positively, we're okay. But if management tries to ignore us, we're not okay. And it's the same thing being involved, in the Airbnb game. Is you want to be hospitable and you want to treat people, with respect.
I think those are great notes right there. And respond to the situations, right? People don't like when you ignore the problem. They want a solution, but bring the hospitality and provide a solution to the problem, which is huge for people out there. And like you said, all of us have been in that same position, right? A hotel, same thing, right? There's things that we've gone in, we've seen, we didn't like, and then we've gone in and said, wow, this was impressive. We haven't seen this before, right? So those kinds of things really help seeing it from the other perspective.
We've had, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
We've had a couple instances where we had to move a family to a different house in the same neighborhood because we couldn't make this unexpected repair in time. Or if we need to make a repair, we'll give the family $100 gift card, send them out to dinner for 2-3 hours, take care of what needs to be taken care of. They come back, hey, it's like nothing ever happened. So that's what I mean about being hospitable and responding positively to certain situations.
Awesome stuff. Jason, another thing, and it's probably one of my favorite moments at the New View conference, because you had everybody saying, wow, like, what do what's this guy talking about? Is when you were talking about the property management side to things. And what happens, new people come in the house and you don't really know what's going on and how you monitor things. And at the conference, you were talking about like, oh yeah, just being able to monitor parties or Wi-Fi detection systems with the smoke alarms and smoke detection stuff. And it was like, people are like, wait, you can monitor that stuff and not be in the house? Tell us like what this is and how investors and people that are investing in short-term rentals can really capitalize on this.
Yeah. Al, I'm gonna make this real special because I know this is your favorite part. So I'm gonna really make it happen. So as a property manager, candidly, you really don't have to leave your office or leave wherever you are from a property management standpoint. And the reason why I say that is we use a noise detection device. We use a Wi-Fi detection device, and there's also smoke detection devices. So you literally can get alerts on your phone. You do it through an app. So we use the Minute Noise Detector. It does not have a camera. You're not supposed to have an interior camera, so we don't do that. But we do have a noise detection device that tells us the decibel level in the house at all times. You get a couple warnings, to bring the noise level down before you're going to get a knock on the door. So the other thing that I really love is my favorite one is the Wi-Fi detector. So let's say someone books for 6 individuals to stay in the house. Let's say it's a 3-bedroom house, 2 people per bedroom, 6 people. We all have a phone, we all have a tablet or laptop or whatever. So that's 12 pings that should be going off the Wi-Fi. If you have 50 pings going off your Wi-Fi, someone's having a party. And you will get an alert to your phone when there's more than 12 pings. And that's how you know someone's having a party without even being anywhere near the house. So if the decibel level is up on the minute noise detector, if the Wi-Fi, app is blowing up, say you have 50, 60 pings going off, you know someone's having a party. And then with the air fresher smoke detection, tells you if it's a cigarette, a cigar, marijuana, and it timestamps it. And all you do is you turn that into Airbnb, you turn all the evidence into Airbnb, and then Airbnb usually kicks them off the platform. And that's how you handle it. And then our property managers also have armed security as well. And they'll call armed security. Armed security shows up, clears the house out, changes the electronic locks, all done, reports to people who booked the Airbnb, and Airbnb has their disciplinary process. So literally, as a property manager, you're not getting out of bed or leaving your office, showing up to the property saying, what's going on. We also use exterior ring cameras and things of that nature as well for the exterior of the property. But technology plays a major role in making sure that people are on the best of their behavior, no different than a hotel. So it's some really cool technology out there to really help and assist property managers. I mean, some of these property managers, they manage 100 different properties or so, and they can't be everywhere all the time. But this is a great way for them to monitor what's going on because you never want someone being a nuisance in the neighborhood. That's something that's pretty big for my wife and I. We never want to be a nuisance in the neighborhood. And so we give the neighbors on both sides of the property, our property managers' contact information as well, so they can communicate if they see something or whatever. But also we have our technology to protect our company, because sometimes neighbors are not always truthful about what's going on at the property, and that protects our guests as well.
Yeah, and it's crazy the strategies that you're talking about, the technology that you can use, the Wi-Fi pings, right? I remember it was the two things, the Wi-Fi pings that you talked about and the smoke detection, and being able to monitor that kind of stuff is so valuable for people that are getting into this, because you get into this thinking, oh, it's, I really want to make it pretty, give them a nice stay. But then when people come stay, what are they really doing? And are they throwing a party, and how do you handle that? And like you were talking about, there's ways to handle that kind of stuff. Did you have any software or particular app that people could use? Is there something specifically that they could download and say, whoa, this just completely just transformed how I can still be in bed and monitor the to-be party about to happen?
Yeah. All of our properties are outfitted with the minute noise detection system, MINUT. And then you have Party Squasher, that is the Wi-Fi detection. I think there's 2 or 3 pretty good Wi-Fi detection devices that are out there. So if you just Google it, Wi-Fi, ping detection or whatever. And then the smoke device is called Air Fresher. And that's how you monitor it. That's how you really pay attention. And you have to protect your property. You're dealing with the general public. Everyone doesn't think the same way that you do. And fortunately, as many properties as we have, and as long as we've been in the business, we've had 2 attempted parties. One was shut down within 30 minutes, and the other one was shut down within like 40 minutes. And thankfully, to our technological devices, we can shut them down, pretty quickly.
Wow. So you knew how to handle those situations when they did come up. And I mean, those were great apps out there. If you just jumped in or you caught that late, go back and rewind. So you'll hear Jason cover those apps and all the special techniques and things that you can do when it comes to this stuff. I can think of so many people that would watch that and say, wow, I just saved time, energy, and frustration dealing with that stuff. Right. I mean, we're trying to do something nice and trying to build financial freedom, but also help people, have that opportunity to stay in a nice home. But then you got to watch out for those things as well. And some of the other things that people don't think about when they get into short-term rentals is, hey, it's another house. It's another piece of property. Guess what you got to do with the property? You got to maintain it. You got to keep it up. You got to keep the lawn up, the maintenance up. So, one thing I know we wanted to cover was being able to build out a financial model when it comes to short-term rentals, and building your financial model, making sure you understand your gross revenue, your maintenance costs, and all the things that you're going to have to do, because ultimately you think you're making the cash flow, but when all these other things are adding up, how do you build that system out early on so that you're not doing 150 and then doing it? How do you do it up front from day one?
I have a little bit of a cheat code because my mother was an accountant for 40 years. So I grew up in an accounting household, and just certain things I learned how to do, from day one. And I'm big on infrastructure. Like you have to have a solid foundation. You have to have a solid infrastructure when you approach any business, because the wind is going to blow and you are going to be collateral damage. Again, how are you going to handle that collateral damage and make adjustments? So when we're looking at a deal, we got to take into consideration, like we put in $200 a month for maintenance. Like that's an automatic line item. You have utilities, you have lawn care, you have tree trimming, you have laundry cost. So some of my friends actually have laundry in the house where their staff can, do laundry there. But I'm like, who wants to be there all day doing a bunch of laundry, washing a bunch of linen? So I'm comfortable with our teams using, a laundry service, and it's not that expensive when you think about it. So you really got to take in consideration all those line items when you're underwriting the deal. The other side of it is when I say having balance. So some properties we lease, and on the lease side, you don't pay, property insurance, you don't pay property taxes. So it could actually be, from a cash flow standpoint, it can be more lucrative. But when you own the properties, you get interest expense and depreciation. And you can talk to your CPA about that. I'm not a CPA, but balance. We have balance in our portfolio. Some we own, some we lease. We have good balance. We get the tax benefits of ownership. We get a little extra cash flow when it comes to the leasing. So we have a balance in our portfolio, and we still like to keep that balance. We want to be in between 50-50, 60-40. Either way is where we really like to be. And that gives us really good balance.
Yeah, because think about all the stuff that you're doing. And if you have a pool, you got to maintain that as well, right? So there's all these things that add up, repairs that you have to do on the house, or insurance, and all these little things that, oh, it's so great, I got the short-term rental, but now I got to pay all this other stuff. And building that stuff is important.
It's a real business. It's a real business. It's not a hobby. We have properties with pools, so we have to pay pool maintenance. But one thing I'm really proud of our team and what we do, when we take over a house, we renovate it. Like, we don't try to just patchwork it and put in furniture and start having guests. Like, we'll put on, if we're buying a property, if it needs a roof, we put on a roof. HVAC equipment replaced, we'll do that. New kitchen gets a new kitchen. New flooring gets new flooring. Because we know from experience, if you don't do those things, eventually you're going to have to do them. So we just try to do it all up front. And then for 10 years, we don't have to worry about any type of major repairs. And that's really the goal. And then after a 10-year period of time, you should have built up some equity in the property. You can refinance, take a portion of those proceeds, upgrade everything again, and just do it every 10 years. And it keeps the property looking really nice.
Amazing. Keep building that portfolio, right? Finding different ways to cash out refi, or, different strategies to keep building that portfolio, which is huge. So yeah, Jason, this is all valuable for investors. New season that Maybe they're 10 deals in, and wait a second, what's this whole thing with the party detector? So that's going to be huge value out there. And anybody in any market, like he's talking about, whether it's geographic location or staging or financial structure or property management, all of this stuff comes into play when you dive into short-term rentals. So Jason, I always do this at the end of my show where I give that guest that opportunity to let it rip. I mean, give that motivation, that final words. But when it comes to anything short-term rental or anything real estate investing or getting started, or maybe you're talking to the seasoned investor that they've got their deals, they maybe want more. What are some final words, final thoughts on anything Jason Matthews really wants to cover?
I always tell people you have to be able to make adjustments. That's been my mantra, my phrase I use a lot nowadays, because when I look over my 27-year full-time real estate investment career, the way that I've been able to take care of my family, the way that my wife's been able to take care of our family from a financial and lifestyle perspective is we've always been able to make adjustments in the real estate game. And collateral damage is going to come. You can't avoid it. We live in a global economy. Who would have predicted a pandemic? No one who would have predicted 2008, 2009. I mean, I started in 1996 in this industry, and I've seen a lot, and I've worked on a lot of different projects. But I would say knowledge is key. I read a lot. I network a lot. I've had phenomenal mentors, some older than me, some younger than me. I have some mentors that are younger than me now that put me up on the digital marketing game. They teach me, all different types of things about the business. So it doesn't matter how old you are. If I can learn something from you, I'm all ears. It's a very fun industry. What I tell people is, with as many properties as we have on the platforms, I learn something new like every week. Every week there's some new situation that just didn't understand. Like, we're getting a certain type of guest, and I would have never thought, we would get that type of guest. Or we have to make some sort of type of something happens, we have to make some sort of type of repair, or we learn a new system, a new process, a new analytical tool. Looking at how many visitors are coming into the Tampa airport affects how our bookings happen. So I'm learning all these new different type of KPI type instruments that are available to us, and you have to pay attention to them because they give you real-time information, not information, 15 days after the end of the month. You need real-time information. I can see our booking calendars 24/7. Every second of the day, I'll pull up the app on our phone. I can see how our bookings are doing. If we're not booking at the level that we should be, our property managers are responsible to make adjustments. But it's real-time information. It's not getting to the end of the month and saying, oh, how come we didn't have a good month? No, we should know that the first week of the month, not the first week of the following month. So it's very important to have real-time data in this business so you can make adjustments, so you can still make money each month and stay in the game. And that's what I found to be very helpful information, a very helpful approach. I talk to people all over the country in this business, and I always learn some little trick of the trade, some little golden nugget. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to implement that into our business. So now we're on this big, digital marketing push. I've been asked several times over the last 3 years, like, will I do a course? Finally have relented, and I do have a online course that's coming up soon to teach, more people about, short-term rentals. I always get asked in the various real estate investment groups I'm in. I always love helping people and talking about it. Now I can kind of formalize it and offer a course, and the course will always be, relevant information because I'm in this business on a daily basis. So I learn new stuff every week. We have stuff that happens every week. And so it's always going to be good information that I'll be able to share.
Love it. And is it out yet? Have you released it?
It'll, within the next 2-3 weeks, it'll be released.
Or make sure you post on social media when the release is. We'll all see it out there.
Yeah,
That'll be exciting.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I've been asked over the last 3 years, and I've kind of been able to push people away, but I finally have relented and said I really need to do this, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I love what you said. We're always learning, right? Every day there's something. I think I even said that on a call today. They were like, no, this is, this is what it's going to be. And I'm like, well, each situation's different, right? It's not just so rigid, right? You got to be flexible. And I'm sure you're going to see things in 5-10 years that you've never seen before. And you're just constantly learning. So self-education and staying on top of things, I love that. And I think that's great. One thing that you said, and before we end, and I think this is going to be a popular question. You can choose to answer it. You can choose to deflect. You do what you want. Off guard question. Market predictions. Fed just raised the rates again today. They said it was the highest rate increase since 1994. Where do you see things kind of going in the market right now? And just kind of tell me. I know Florida is just still a gold mine and still increasing, but it seems that it could potentially affect all sorts of markets. What are you seeing based upon you were in that '08 era style kind of thing?
What I see is, I was very fortunate to have some great real estate mentors that taught me you have to have a game plan for when things are going great, and you have to have a game plan when things aren't going so great. So that's how I look at the interest rate moving up and down. You have a game plan for when rates go up. You have a game plan when rates go down. I've been in this for 27 years. Short-term decisions don't drive our business. We have to make the adjustments. The one thing that I think of when I see rates going up is I get concerned about retail home buyers. So Joe and Mary Smith looking to buy a home for their family, they may believe that it's time to not buy and pull out because rates are going up. What they really need to understand is that you have institutional buyers that are buying 3,500 homes at a time, and they're paying cash. So every home that Joe and Mary Smith decide not to buy, the institutional investors are buying it. And then, they may have to rent because there's not going to be anything available. So I really think about the education of the retail buyers, where they may have gotten advice from, that people used to use a decade ago. Well, a decade ago, we didn't have institutional investors buying 3,500 homes at a time. So that's taking 3,500 homes off the market in various communities. And I talk to these institutional buyers, and they're buying cash every day. They contact me and ask me if we want to sell any of our properties. That's one less property that would go to a retail buyer. So if I was a retail buyer, I'm just speaking for myself, if my wife and I were in the market to buy a new home, we wouldn't be interest rate sensitive, because I know our competition is the institutional investors and the foreign governments that are buying, residential properties in the United States. I see them every day. That's who we compete against. We compete against institutional investors. We compete against foreign governments. We compete against investors from California, New York, Connecticut, Washington, D.C. They don't care about interest rates. They're still buying. And they want to own that property, and they want to own it. One of the areas they want to own it in is in Florida. And that's just a reality. So I've been trying to encourage all my friends that are realtors that please help to educate your retail buyers that yes, rates are going up, but there may not be homes available when you're ready to come out and buy again. And then you're going to be frustrated, and it's not going to be a good situation.
Interesting perspective about the retail end buyer. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see where things go. And that's a valuable piece right there about what the market really looks like, who the real buyers are, who's out there that is buying cash like that, the institutional real estate companies and other companies that are out there. So, Jason, loaded episode, tons of stuff jam packed in what we covered. I loved everything that you talked about. When are you speaking again? Are you speaking anytime soon?
Have some. I think New View has an event coming up soon, and I always love attending their events. They have great events. Avanta has great events as well. I love my RIA groups I'm involved in here in the Tampa area. I'm also involved in Cincinnati RIA as well. They do it online Zoom, and I'm just trying to just spread the education, trying to encourage people to create those micro economies. And that's how we approach our partners that help us run our business. We really try to create a micro economy for them and help them build their business smartly. And that's the main goal that my wife and I have always had. And it would be tough to operate our business if it wasn't for our partners. We have like 25 small businesses and individuals that help us make it happen on a daily basis, and we're forever grateful, to all of them that really help and support us, operate our company, and we're there to help and support them as well.
Great. Yeah. Well, I mean, can't wait to see you again soon in person speaking about this stuff. I love hearing when the crowd's like, wow, when Jason says something. So, hey, it was great. Love seeing you again, and we'll catch up soon, Jason.
Yep. Thanks for having me on, Al. This was great. I really enjoy nights like tonight. A lot of fun. I've been looking forward to it, and it's very exciting. So thank you very much for having me on.
Of course. You got it. We'll see you soon.
All right. See you, buddy.
See you soon.
All right.
All right, everybody. Jam-packed episode right there. If you got in late, you got to go back to the beginning of the episode, because what Jason broke down was critical in the short-term rental market, covering everything from geographic location, staging of and setup, and being able to economically figure out what's going to work and not overpaying for some of that staging. And then the property management, that's a whole key thing too. I mean, he talked about things about knowing your municipal laws, knowing where you're buying, some of the stuff with the staging, but also what was really key was some of the amenities that you can get in your house, like the party detector, the Wi-Fi detector, some of those things that a lot of people think, oh, wait a second, there's something going on. I have to actually get out of my house to go check out what's happening. And instead, it's on your phone. It's on an app. And you know what? If you missed the episode or you tuned in late, you got to rewind it, because Jason did tell us what the apps were. So he talked about some of the technology and the apps. You got to go check that out, and the financial structure to things. I mean, loads of information. Jason's a speaker, and I'm so glad we got to connect at the New View conference. So check that episode out. And if you would like more content like this, like on the Al Nicoletti Show, you got to check out the Al Nicoletti Show, which is on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I think somebody asked me the other day, they pulled the audience and said, how many of you are on more than 6 social media sites? And I'm like, boom, done. I don't think there was, I think there were 2 other people that are like that. So we're everywhere, right? You can find the show everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, it's everywhere. And love that you all were watching. And I hope you got a lot of great information on the short-term rental market. And I'm always interested to know what you all want to hear, whether you tune into this. And what's crazy about the Al Nicoletti Show is I have the people that are watching live now, but then also I'll get a comment on the YouTube later, like a week or 2 from now, or maybe tomorrow morning, and they'll drop a comment in there. And we love listeners live or after. We love to hear feedback, love to hear what you're looking to hear for a listener that you would love to have on the show. That's going to be very important. And we love you tuning in. So you know that we're Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're here. We're ready to go. And I love you all. Thank you for watching. And all the Al Nicoletti fans, I'll see you next week with Mike Novak, Mr. TikTok for land. That's going to be a huge episode you don't want to miss, on how you can really generate your leads and push your leads out there, your real estate leads through TikTok, right? That's going to be really cool. So it's a wrap, everybody. I will see you all next week, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Have a great night. I'll see you then.